Welcome to the 11th recording of Podcasters. Today with Coraline Kruk. Coraline, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah. Tell me, who are you and where are you from?
Yeah. I'm working as a team lead of the chatbot team for business banking clients at ABN AMRO.
Do I hear Anna?
Yes, you do.
Oh, our good friend Anna from edition number 1.
Yes.
Ah, you're so courageous to be here. And what does it mean to be a team lead?
It means being comfortable with the uncomfortable, actually, because as we know, I guess, there's never a dull moment.
In the world of chatbots, you mean?
In the world of chatbots, indeed. And it means having a good team is the best thing you can have. And having a team which can develop itself is a great thing to have. Not always possible, but we're working really hard on it. And to have a kind of, in the midst of all these chatbots and technology and whatsoever, to have a human relationship with your colleagues.
Oh, not with the chatbot.
Not at first, but maybe later. But no, for most with your team members, this is the most important thing.
Now you get me a little bit curious because you say a human relation. I understand. Mm-hmm. We're coming out of this, world of Corona. A lot of companies are moving back to the office or partly to the office. Yeah. In Corona time, you all did it from a distance.
Absolutely.
Working remotely.
Yeah.
How did that work compared to having the human relation compared to now?
Well, you have to, during COVID, we had a lot of moments of get-together.
Physical get-together?
No, digital. Digital. And not to have conversations about work, but conversations about whatsoever. What's in your life? Yeah. How do you feel? Without getting too lame in it, but no, but just there are more things in life than work.
I totally agree.
And I think with getting back to the office, yes, there are a lot of advantages of seeing each other and working together. And
what about the disadvantages? I think there are a lot too.
Yeah, there are a lot. Well, what I see is that a lot of people are distracted and think that productivity is only when you work hard on your tickets at the backlog, but I think productivity is also having a chat with colleagues you never see at the coffee machine.
Long time ago, I was manager of a marketing communications department. And the director of the company walked into the team. Sorry. And I told my team, it's like, I would love you to work single tasking, not multitasking, because you're wasting time. It's not efficient, especially if something complex comes up. So he walked into to the office, and one of the girls had her legs on the table reading the newspaper. The other one was doing something else, doing her nails, I don't know what. They were doing, in his eyes, nothing productive. So he came running into my room. What the hell is going on here? They're not working. I said, they are working. They're waiting for the job at hand coming in and then fixing it instantly. And he didn't understand. So then I showed him that by working this way, they actually did the tenfold of the work the department did before I managed it. And I explained to him what was behind it. So I don't know if you know it. It's the theory of constraint from Goldratt. I'll send you the book, digitally, of course. And it's an interesting way, but the basis is single tasking.
Yeah.
And not multitasking.
Yeah.
So, and I found that working remotely gives you more focus. And people are single tasking besides the things they have to do at home. But work-wise, there's focus.
Yeah.
That was my experience.
And multitasking is overrated, I guess.
We could go into discussion. I presume that would be a gender discussion. Let's not go there.
No.
Because you will win. Based on the pre-talk. But you said your team lead. I'm interested. Your team is running Anna.
Yeah.
and as the chatbot of ABN AMRO, bank in the Netherlands. How big is your team? How many people are there? What kind of functions are in the team?
At the moment, we have 7 conversation designers, only conversation designers.
And they write also.
They write also.
So the designers and writers.
Yeah. They design, they write, they build in our system, and they test. And they are also on a concept level working on innovation. So if we see in data or we have a great idea ourselves, we are working on it, and we are doing stakeholder management as well to get everybody on board to see if it will work or not. That's also a thing. And besides that, the way it's organized within ABN AMRO, we have also an integration team and a platform team, and with the developers and stuff. But mostly we do a lot of things ourselves.
And now a nasty question. If you have an idea or you want to do something new, what is your time to market?
Good point.
Are you working agile or?
Yeah, we work agile. Yeah.
So I would presume at the end of the sprint, you have what you need. But that's an assumption. And we know assumptions are?
Yeah. At the end of the sprint, we with new features, we have done an analyze to see if it will work or if it is possible within the bank, within the priorities of other teams, if we can work together to make it happen. Some things can go very quickly, and some things need a little bit more time. I think everybody will understand that, well, for some great ideas, you need other people. You need legal, or you need compliance or whatsoever. So yes, that sometimes it takes a while, and sometimes it goes quite quickly.
And you said that the conversation designers also test. Do they involve customers in the testing, or it's just the designers testing?
No, it's the designers testing. We do our UX department. We do have a UX department, which is, I think, a great luxury.
We get to talk about that a little bit later.
Yes, they have. They do testing with customers. Yeah.
Okay, so they put the chatbot in front of the customer and see what they do.
Yeah.
And their response.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things we're going to talk about later is how do you measure that response and what does it mean?
Yeah.
Another question. Of course, in edition number 1, you were lucky to be our first target of testing. We tested Anna, and the first question we asked Anna was, Anna said to us, you can ask me anything.
Yeah.
You should not say that to me. Because we asked Anna basically anything, and Anna had no answer.
No.
She got a little confused.
Yeah, yeah.
So I find you're an extremely good sport for sitting here, and ABN AMRO a good sport for letting you sit here.
Thanks.
Because it's confronting. We're testing and we run into, I wouldn't say problems, but things that could be improved.
Yes.
And our whole purpose of testing is to figure out how we can improve as a branch or as a professional group. What did you guys, how did that land? I'm really curious. How did our feedback land in your team? Of course, you responded online. So cool. But I imagine in the team, some people were like, oh man, these bastards, they did something we didn't expect them to do. Well, that's what happens with customers.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's, I think it's lovely if people are testing your chatbot, because we all know you're quite sitting in a bubble and you don't see it anymore. So thanks for being critical.
Yeah, but testing and broadcasting are 2 different things.
True. But that's okay. Yes, the first thing you tested was, you can ask me anything.
That was literally the first question. The first thing she said to us.
Yeah, true. And it's on the backlog with many other priorities. And you also tested, I believe, when don't mention your bank account number or other stuff.
Well, what we found is that you didn't make a distinction between customers and non-customers.
Yeah.
I would presume, or we presumed, that if you go into a chatbot and why can't it be commercial at some point? Because I'm there and as a non-customer, I'm trying to get information. Hey, I might be a potential customer. So why don't I end up in a funnel helping me becoming a customer or asking me if I want to become a customer?
Yeah.
And if I'm already a customer, I don't care about all the stuff you give to non-customers.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that line, but obviously the bank has chosen another direction. And the point is, if you want to become a customer, the most asked question is, I want to open an account, and then you're pretty fine, and I will help you.
We didn't ask that question.
No, you didn't.
No.
And so that's I think that's covered. But I see your point. But there's just another
another strategy.
Made. Yeah.
Well, that's perfectly fine. It's not. We're not saying that you have to change it. We're just curious.
Yeah.
And some stuff.
But it's a good point. It's always, and that's the fun part of stuff like this. To be awake sometimes and get some other ideas.
But the interesting thing is, we're at the beginning of this huge wave of changes. And we all in this field, we all see it coming, and then the rest of the world is just, we're waiting for it to follow. But that's how I feel. It's like, guys, we're ahead of the revolution, because look at call centers; they have trouble getting people. Mm-hmm. Look at the questions they're answering. 60-70% could be handled and dealt with a chatbot or a process bot. Yeah, if you link it to the back end. Mm-hmm. And it's just not happening, or not happening enough, or not happening good enough. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering why. What is your take on that? Because you work in a large organization and you make these trade-offs. Yeah. Not an easy question, I know.
No, but there are obviously many answers to that. If I look at ABN AMRO, I think there are the fact that it's taken so Anna is being taken so seriously within the business is also because there are a few people who are working so hard on it and making it happen within the board. Or so you have to have kind of people who are
sponsors or ambassadors.
Sponsors, ambassadors, huge fans, and have the.
You have fans in the board of ABN AMRO?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
that's
we do.
Important.
Yeah, but it's also because there are a few people who are working their ass off. Thank you. To make it happen, because they truly believe in it, and so that's one thing, I guess. And why it's not. Yeah,
that's interesting, because if someone would have listened to all the podcasts, one of the themes that keeps coming back, that is, you need sponsorship in the board in order to get the budget, the people, the technology, the support to get shit done. Yeah, and have fuck ups as well, because you will. You probably have them too.
Yeah, of course, everybody has.
Well, not everybody admits.
Well, they have another problem, I guess.
Well, but that's for the psychology podcast.
Exactly.
We're not in that.
No. So that's one part. And why it's not. Well, I think a lot of smaller companies are a little bit afraid of the hassle and the costs and the difficulty of platforms and they just don't know what to do and what to choose.
Are they right to think that, or
no? Because are they right? I can imagine that you're a little bit haunted by it, maybe.
Well, we're in Halloween period, so that makes sense.
With the 30 degrees outside, I can imagine you're a little bit haunted by it, but at the other end, there is so much knowledge. There's so much different kind of platforms, user-friendly platforms, and I don't think you have to make it that big already. You can start small, and just and I guess also with a smaller budget. To see what's going on and how you can incorporate it in your customer services, or see, okay, if my chatbot answers questions correctly, what do I see happen at the call rate or at the live chat rate or whatsoever? So you don't have to make it that big.
No, you're talking about an integrated vision. But also integrated testing. Start small with one topic, and that's one of the things we also see in the podcast, that the bots we test, that they try to cover everything.
Yeah.
And so my expectation, I come there, is like, okay, you know everything.
Yeah.
And then they don't.
Yeah.
And that's where a customer is like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And then you don't have enough volume. Your AI is not learning, so it doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
So basically, we're already giving a takeaway here, is start small, make it successful, and the next. So if it's about a process or a question, limit it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then show the success to the board, and then get them literally on board.
Yeah, because otherwise, well, my point of view is also that your customer service is actually in the center of your business anyway. So
it sounds so logical.
Yeah.
And it's on a rational level, you're completely right, but it's not happening.
No.
And I don't know if you heard the podcast we had with Roel Masselink.
No, I didn't.
That was in Dutch, but he's of the Federation of Customer Service, companies and organizations that are busy with customer service. He said basically the same thing, but the problem is they think about a channel, but none of the channels, they don't connect. So actually, you disappoint the customer. You have fabulous service, but it's in one channel, and then comes the other channel, and you can't deliver. You don't switch them to the channel that is available.
Yeah,
it happened he predicted it, and then we tested 2 bots, and it actually happened directly in the bots.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's
so there's a discrepancy between
absolutely
what we feel that should happen, and what makes sense.
Yeah. Well, we need to have a point to work to, so let's do that.
True. So how are you doing that? So how are you making these waves at ABN AMRO or in your personal life with chatbots? I don't know if you use them in your personal life. We know you're frustrated about some organizations, so we'll talk about that later in the testing. But how do you make that change? How do you convince people that this needs to happen? Because of course, ABN AMRO invested a lot of money and time and people in getting where you are now, and you are an important part of that. But I assume, and I know assumption is, but I assume that took you a lot of time to convince people to get where you are now. So if you go back to the beginning, what happened?
I wasn't there at the beginning, so I couldn't tell you that. But I know we're still working on to increase our traffic.
In the chatbot?
Yeah. And therefore, you have to convince people within the bank for needing it.
You need to convince for needing the more traffic.
Yeah. No, for needing Anna.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So to increase the traffic eventually.
Do they see Anna as a digital coworker or colleague, or do they just perceive her as it's technology and it's somewhere on the website?
That differs. It really depends on persons itself. So that
the customer service department, how do they perceive her?
They're pretty happy because they take a lot of answers for them. So they're pretty happy with it. Yeah,
that's cool. That's because they're people feeding her with knowledge, I presume.
Yeah. No, so that's a pretty good cooperation with them. Yeah.
So if I would go to numbers, not without mentioning numbers, because I'm not asking for numbers, but if you would look at a business case, it's positive.
Yeah.
Because that's an important thing, but it took you a while to get there, I presume.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the point why you need the board on board.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, the business case will not be positive. You'll be investing and investing, getting to a certain level, and then it makes sense.
Yeah, so you need a few visionaries on board to make it happen.
Do we have enough visionaries in the companies? We can speak for the Netherlands.
I can judge of all companies, but there are a few, I guess. Yeah.
But enough? Do you think every company...
Does it matter?
Does it matter? I think it matters. Unfortunately, my vision is that in a lot of big corporations, if it's a small company, usually the entrepreneur is visionary, but limited in budget and capacity. Mm-hmm. In large corporations, I think they're in the boards. Not everybody is as visionary as they should be. I think they should have at least one visionary in the board with a big say in what's happening, looking at the future, and then going back to the now. And okay, we need to start now in order to be ready in 2, 3, 5, 6 years. Yeah. And I think there's just not enough of that, because how often can you tell a story to one? We know because we talked before that you have. I wouldn't say vivid imagination, but you can visualize. If we talk about a problem or a solution, you can visualize. Oh, okay, I can see that work or happening. Yeah. And wow. Yeah. It's not there. We know the technology might not be ready, but we know it's going there. Mm-hmm. And that's something you can act on now. Yeah. But if you would talk to someone with the same story in the board, they would look at you as like, I have no clue what you're talking about.
Well, I would love if somebody in the board would say, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, because I think, cool. And this is completely outside of ABN AMRO. But I think there are a lot of people who try to talk about it, but don't know they don't know shit. So I rather hear, I don't know shit, and tell me about it.
And then you can help.
Rather than, I think it goes there and there, and I read some book, and I'm really downplaying it now. But then you assume you have knowledge about it, because we also know we're in a quite rapid growth of chatbots and assistants whatsoever. And we might have a clue where it's heading.
Yeah, you read the Gartner research, I presume.
Yeah, I didn't yet. But it's also still we don't know all, and that makes this business so much fun, because it is innovating. And if you knew what you were innovating, you wouldn't be in an innovating team. You would be in another team.
Yeah, the managing team.
Exactly.
Managing the shop.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would really, I would be really pleased if somebody said, "I haven't got a clue what you're talking about."
Basically, we're extending a hand, or this is an open invitation to anybody who is in the board of directors of a company and doesn't know shit about chatbots. Yeah. Come and have a talk. Yeah. We're inviting you to the podcast, and we'll tell you all about it. You're invited to come and help and explain. I hope you're coming. Thanks.
Then. Yeah. But there are, thankfully, there are also a lot of people who do know.
Yeah, but still on the board level, you don't have to know the nitty gritty, but you need to understand that it takes time, investment, and trust in the people who are doing it, given space. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool, because everything we talked about.
We did.
No. In the previous podcast, and there's a lot of conversation designers, platform owners, and they perceive this as a problem. But you're in the middle of a big corporation. I came from that too, and you're in the middle of it, and you're the living proof of that's basically true. What we're saying, or the questions we're asking. If you look at the world around you, what would be an interesting use case for you for a chatbot? And since we know you can envision stuff, please
enlighten you.
Enlighten me or us with something that's like, if they would do that, or...
it would be very practical, just in daily life stuff to make it easier.
That's the best. Those are the best,
yeah,
right?
I guess so. Well, for example, if you're on a regular base of using medicines, and the pharmacy is it the pharmacy?
The doctor?
The doctor, would proactively would reach you hey,
it's time for a renewed
yeah,
prescription.
yeah, exactly. Or is it still correct, your prescription? Do we need to change it, or do you have any complaints about it, or are there? I think that kind of stuff can be very easy to do.
I totally agree, and it's funny because a couple of years ago, I worked with a student who had to do econometrics student who had to graduate from Tilburg University, and I was an ambassador in a hospital at the time for a children's department, pediatric department.
Yeah.
And I saw the inefficiencies, and if there's something that I don't like, it's inefficiency, because it's not necessary. And I saw all these doctors struggling, working like, I don't know, crazy hours and doing stupid administrative stuff. I was going to say shit, but it's not shit. It's important, but it's just way too much. And it was going against my idea of having care and attention for the patients and their parents. So he did a study there. And basically we found that if you would use, and that was before I was involved in chatbot, but if you would be proactive, and for instance, after the first consultation or after giving medicine or whatever, being in touch with the patient and getting information to see, okay, we called it triage after the actual triage had happened, to see if you need to come to the hospital or, just the information is right, and we could do it with a call or a video call. Yeah. This was far before Corona. We calculated that you could reduce the amount of time the doctor would spend 30 to 40%. Given that most doctors work at 130, 140% of their capacity of their actual hours they're paid for. We're like, okay, they can go back to having a life. Yeah. Or you can see more patients, whatever they want. Yeah. So it was a bit in French, avant la lettre. It is totally true, and I see your frustration. Because the data, and now in Holland we collect data on medicine. It's called LAREP, I think.
I'm not sure.
On usage of or side effects. This is something you could easily do if you have a chatbot. Someone asks you, okay, are you happy with the medicine? Any side effects? Is it working? Yeah. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then, okay, do you have enough, or do you need a new prescription? Yes, boom. Yeah. Okay, we send it to the pharmacy. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And or if it's when the side effects, for example, are pretty heavy, then you immediately receive the data back. Okay, we need to do something about it. We need to iterate it or whatsoever. So we call the patient, or the doctor doesn't.
Or plan your appointment. Here's the schedule.
Yeah, or the doctor doesn't even have to do that, I guess, because doctors are pretty busy. So you can, you can go to the doctor's assistants or whatsoever, and they say, oh, okay, maybe you need a little bit more data or a little more that, and then we fix it. So
basically, what you're trying to say. The core medicine should be face-to-face or in a video call. Yeah. But everything else around it can be made conversational and makes your life easier and the doctor's life easier. Exactly. And more efficient. So.
Yeah. So we have a win-win situation.
So it makes sense. And I think there's a lot of developments there. A lot of trials, etc. But of course, in Holland, we have a lot of hurdles to take in order to implement that. Yeah. That's so funny. We always say it needs to be scientifically proven, but how can we prove it if we don't do it? And we do a small experience. Scientific is basically a numbers game, and it needs to bring efficiency. But the only way to do it is to implement at scale. Yeah. Otherwise, you have no evidence. So it's a bit.
No, but I can imagine you can have a pretty safe test audience.
I agree.
So let's make everybody life a little bit easier then.
Well, I'll transmit it. It's hopefully in due time we have a doctor who's the pediatrician we work with at the time, we're looking at implementing or designing a chatbot for her in the allergy department. So, because we saw that could be improvements. You give medicine, how's it going? Is it, well, it's basically continuous triaging. So we're looking at that. So I'm trying to convince her to come to the podcast and we talk about this. So,
great.
So maybe your dreams will come true.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like a jazz. We're recording a jazz show, and we're not. If you look at the news or stuff that's happening in the world, where would you love to implement a chatbot to make everybody's life or your life easier, or take away problems that aren't there? You said something before that sort of rang a bell. You talked about the tax department.
Yeah.
And it's of course bad in the news. They also do good stuff, but how would you? What would you change? Where would you implement a bot? You have to be careful now.
No, not really. But I'm just I'm not quite sure. I don't know if where to implement a bot. Well, yeah, like I said, to make daily life easier.
If you don't have an example directly, it's not a problem.
No, not really. No, what I would rather have is that we try to maintain the level of and importance of good writing and psychology stuff and ethical stuff. Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah, let's
now we're moving to the UX part.
Yeah.
You're making a beautiful bridge. That is a problem.
Yeah.
And how do you see that with Anna? And how do you do that in Anna? And what would be the key takeaways, if you're happy with that, to bring to the world, to other conversation designers, writers, other teams?
I think
what is good UX?
Well, good question. Yeah, good UX is, I guess, when your users are happy.
How do you know?
Exactly, you have to ask.
Do you?
Yeah, sometimes.
So how do you do you call them, or?
No, we have like client researchers and stuff.
You don't do it directly in the bot?
Well, we had once, I'm not sure if it's still in it, with the personal banking department. We had an last question, an NPS question. But what are you asking really then? Because you would only get the invite for the NPS when you are truly helped. So basically, you could imagine that as a client, if I'm helped by which chatbot whatsoever, then I'm pretty happy because my question is being answered. So the NPS gives not the...
Can I make a firm statement and help you?
Great.
I think the NPS is a shitty measure to measure the quality of a chatbot. I'm sorry to say, it doesn't mean shit, because people who are unhappy are not going to finish it, so they're never going to see the question.
Exactly.
And that's the people you want to have a feedback from.
You want to have feedback from the customers who are being lousy served.
So we can decide here and now, Net Promoter Score is not a good measure to use for your chatbot.
No, but what is?
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. But what is?
Well, I can only say from my experience, what we used in certain projects. We used actually two. We just asked them at the end, no matter whether you were happy or not, we don't care. Just give us a number, report card number.
Mm-hmm.
About your experience with the chatbot. That's it. And that's not Net Promoter Score. We didn't ask him would you suggest it to other people? No, we're here to solve your problem. Are you happy or not?
Yeah.
And that's different from NPS. Mm-hmm. And the second one is basically usability score. How easy was it for you? And that's where it becomes interesting, because if you're testing stuff, you see the difference that it makes it easier or harder. You see if you have enough numbers going through, you see the difference in the score.
Yeah.
You're introducing something that makes their life a little bit more difficult. Your score goes down immediately.
Yeah.
And I think that's about as much as a consumer can take.
Mm-hmm.
And these are two simple questions.
Yeah.
And that's what worked for us in our project. But I can imagine that there's other things in the market or other concepts to use.
Yeah, and okay, so then a customer says it was really hard to do this, and I'm not helped. So
Then we call,
and then
I think then you should ask him, can we call you to talk about this and give us serious feedback so how we can improve. Be open and honest about it. It's a developing field, and most people are happy to help. That's the interesting thing.
Yeah, I think so too. But okay, but what is the thing that didn't give the customer a great experience? Is it the writing? Is it the UX? Is it the feature? Is it the context? Is it the whatsoever? Yeah.
I think someone should be interviewed about that, because that's the only way. If you ask this to a customer, he has no idea what you're talking about.
No.
So I think you should call him and schedule a call, and maybe even pay him for his time. So please, could we go over certain segments of the bot? And and you can ask, if you do this properly, you can ask these questions without having to explain what context is or what type of writing you used. But,
Yeah.
And so I think that's the only way to get your proper answers.
And how many people would you preferably ask?
I think probably mostly the error will point at one or two problems. And very quickly. So I think usually most customers will give the same answer.
Yeah.
It's like I told you, we introduced in a certain bot something to identify oneself. It's called Eden. It's basically using your banking details to log in or to identify yourself. And consumers did not want to use their banking details.
Yeah.
So we called them, the people who stopped in the bot, and they said, yeah, all of them said the same thing. I don't feel comfortable. After 4 people, we knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're giving the same answer. Then.
Yeah. It's like the design thinking principle, right? You only have to ask actually 5 people, and then you get the most of it.
Exactly. And then if you have 90%, and that's the whole thing, and then okay, we go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
We change it and we do it again.
Yeah.
So because the one thing that's, in my opinion, of the utmost important is speed. Because the more people go through your bot and are not happy, the more people you lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why in the beginning I asked the question, what's the time to market? Because speed and agility is, in my opinion, extremely important for working with chatbots and improvement. Once you're there at the level where everybody's happy, then you can slow down a bit. Looking at you, not at all.
No, you can never slow down because nobody is happy at the same time.
Well, true, but there's different definitions of slow. By slow, I don't mean sit back and do nothing, but you can take more time to prioritize, and because the effects of an improvement are so low that you need to look for where and put your effort there where it actually makes a difference.
Yeah,
and
true.
If it's about one customer, I'm sorry for the people who are insulted now. That shouldn't be your focus.
Yeah,
it should be on making real improvements. And that's what I said. Okay, if you speak to 5 customers, they give all the same answer, or they point the arrow in the same problem. If it's about the writing, they didn't understand the wording, they were too difficult, the sentences were too long, or whatever.
Yeah, Yeah.
So you agree?
I think that's the way to go.
And do you guys do it that way?
Yeah. Well, actually, we.
So, how do you know? Because when we tested it, you didn't ask for my phone number or any details of mine. So, how do you know how to call me? If I'm a non-customer?
No, we don't call. We don't call, but we do. We organize it in a different way. We invite customers to the bank. We have
Like a panel discussion or something.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Stuff like that.
those are people. I'm being a bit critical here, but those are people that you show what you have.
I'm not sure. I haven't been there yet.
Okay, because
that's on my wish list.
I love testing with real audience, real customers, and then asking these people, because the real frustration, I think that's what brings the improvement and the innovation. If I look at, as we're sitting here, it's frustration that actually brings us ahead about something that's not right. So I think also from the testing of a bot, you should figure out who's frustrated, and the most angry customers, they're the best to call. And you know what? If you call them and they're frustrated and they get to tell their story, they're still happy. Back. They love you back. It's really amazing what happens. And okay, but do you have another vision on what would be a good measurement to measure if the UX, which has a lot of elements, is right? You have a better solution.
Well, maybe when you change one thing, you can do A/B testing, but
one thing as in you change the color or
exactly.
a few words.
Kind of that kind of stuff. No, but I'm really looking for that kind of
the Holy Grail.
Yeah, the Holy Grail. Yeah, and yes, I do agree. There's nothing better than just talk to your customer and be aware of that. And that's happening. But there must be something else. There must be something.
One of the interesting things, you use WhatsApp, right? Like everybody else.
Personally, I do. Yeah.
So they introduced a while ago this new feature where you can actually give an emoji or back on one line. Right? Yeah. So why don't we introduce that in chatbots, that they, that you give a few emojis like a thumb up, thumb down, a heart, whatever. Skip all the nasty stuff. Or a face with tears or a big smiley to tell us about their state of mind.
Like on the toilets at Schiphol Airport, for example.
I did not know where this was going, but yes, I mean that was horrible. Okay, you got me. You got me there. Yeah, but that's exactly it. It's push a smiley if you're happy, which is I find that. By the way, I still find that a weird thing. Is like, what are they asking me about? Because if you don't read what they're asking, you're answering a question about your toilet visit, which is sort of weird. I'm sorry. Could be perceived in a different way. Right?
I believe it's about if it's clean and stuff like that.
Well, they never ask the cleaners to put to touch the smiley or the... I think they have a different opinion.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Let's not ask them. Okay, you got me totally off topic.
Shall we test some bots then?
You want to... Well, yes, we will. But I have about the UX, because I think context is really important if you talk about UX. Do you think that... Okay, you're working for ABN AMRO, but let's just see it as a large corporation. Do you feel that if you're a large corporation and a small company, that should make a difference in, or could make a difference in context or UX? Of course, ABN AMRO has a bigger budget and et cetera, has a UX department, whereas a small company, usually they don't have the same budgets, the same team, et cetera. You think that would result in a difference, or and customers will accept that or not? Would they come to ABN AMRO with higher expectation?
Yeah,
I
guess.
Yeah,
I guess.
And what does that mean? What would that mean for a bot if they have higher expectations?
That you should be one of a kind performer, and you.
So they should have a unique experience where that makes them come back.
Yeah.
That's what we all want for everybody.
Exactly. And hopefully in the future you will, or customers will trust a chatbot more to do also more things for you.
And how, because the chatbots you're currently using is inbound.
Yeah.
So how are you going to tell them that it has extra functionality? Because I haven't seen any advertisement or billboards for, hey, we got a great chatbot. Come for our chatbot customer service.
Yeah.
Nobody does it.
No, true. No, true. No, there's a market.
Well, actually, Bol.com does something with Billy, but in online things, I've seen something come by. That was a while ago. But other than that,
nobody does.
No, why not? And there are some truly amazing chatbots. If you take Benefeer from the Efteling, they have managed to put the Efteling. We don't have small children anymore, but the way I remember it, it gives you a certain feeling.
Yeah.
It's like Disney. It's magical.
Yeah.
And you see the glow in the eyes of your kids, and that's what happens. They with the lingo, with the language they use and the way they use it, they've managed to put that in their chatbot, and I find that truly amazing. And there's probably some very talented people working on it.
Sure, Anja de Castro, reach out to her. She's good.
I'm trying to. Anja, we'll tag you in it. Please come. I want to know more.
Yeah.
But seriously, it's about wowing your customers or your potential customers.
Well, this is a little bit lame, but it's obviously more. It depends also on the subject and on the company itself. I mean, and
are you trying to tell me that banking is not sexy?
Well, banking could be sexy.
Oh, now we're getting somewhere. So how is banking? How does a chatbot make banking sexy?
Well, that I don't know.
We have a title for the chat.
Yeah,
for the podcast.
No. But banking could be sexy.
Why? How? Tell me.
I think by.
Oh my God, this is going to do so well online.
No. We're not going that way. But no, I think if banking will be sexy, is because also of the brand. So you have to feed your brand with sexiness. So that's for the start. And
basically, we're talking about sex appeal in sense of not the sex part, but wanting to work with that company or being a customer.
Exactly.
That's what Apple did. Or Amazon.
Yeah.
So, and that's all about one thing only: ease of use.
Yeah.
Make my life easy.
In 3 steps, please.
Exactly.
Taxman.
So how come you're not doing that? No, not you, but in general, what I see is most chatbots do not do that.
No.
So we should discover a 3-step approach to giving you the answers you need, doing the process you need, giving you the products you need.
Yeah.
And anything longer, you should go to a person.
But it's a little bit. I think
I'm simplifying things.
Yeah. No, but that's okay. It's more when you start out as a digital bank, digital whatsoever only, you're already
like Bank did.
Yeah, then you're pretty on the way. And for the more older companies, there's just this big thing of backend
legacy.
Yeah.
And now we become silent because this is like a pink elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Legacy.
No, but it's there's so, and it's for so many companies the daily business of a lot of tooling, a lot of databases, a lot of whatsoever, and trying to fix it and to make it work.
Basically, to survive the day with your systems.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thought. And we know there's middleware you can use to connect your chatbot to legacy systems or RPA technology or whatever. Legacy systems are not an impediment to installing chatbots and using them to do stuff.
I'm not sure, but what is an impediment is a kind of stuff like identifying yourself.
Oh yeah, privacy. That is an important thing. We talked about that with KPN, and there are certain risks.
Yeah.
But people also pretty much done with logging into a gazillion systems or platforms to do a thing and then move on to the next platform.
Yes, but the customers, I guess, are also done with data leaks, data leaks, sorry, and stuff like that.
True.
So there's some golden way between it where to navigate, and that's the sweet spot we have to touch.
We're not there yet.
No.
You talked about testing a chatbot. Now, when we talked, you had a certain frustration. It's not targeted to anyone personal.
No.
But to a...
No, I think it's the legacy of systems on the back end.
Show us what you got.
Well, the case is this. I want to...
it's about mobile phone.
It's about
let's start with that.
Yeah. It's T-Mobile is my provider, and I want to extend my subscription. But the point is, I have I'm a personal user, but I was a commercial user. So
you went from business to private.
Yeah, exactly.
So you changed the subscription.
Yeah, but now.
Hold on, we need to reconnect. Hold on.
Okay.
You use the one.
Yeah.
Oh, now you can.
There we go. Yeah. Great. Where is he?
Hold on. Give me the mouse. We'll turn it on and off. Of course, this happens when you record live.
Yeah. But that's the fun of it.
And there you go.
Great. Thanks.
You're back online.
I wanted to have a chat about it.
So for the people who are listening, we're now in the T-Mobile website, the Dutch customer service part of their website.
Yeah.
And we're going to the section where you can chat. And it says Lotte, which is the name of it's a Dutch name of the chatbot, is 24/7 available.
Yeah.
And it has two services.
Yeah, do you want to?
Well, you have to renew it probably. Upstairs not upstairs. no, here in the.
What?
Here. Oh,
this one?
Just give it to me for a second.
Not sure what you're trying to do.
Sorry, we put it ready for the now enter. Can you push enter?
Yeah.
You wanted this one, right?
Yeah. So we're going to start the chat.
We probably had the page open too long, and then it says your ticket is okay. Start chat mobile, and here we are. And we wanna. Then it says welcome to the chat. Do you have a T-Mobile account? Log in. That's the first thing. You need to be logged in. That's about security, I guess. Yeah. But most people won't know offhand their login details for the T-Mobile. That's when you as a customer think, damn, I'll call. Mm-hmm. Let's see what happens if we go on without logging in. And now I'm handing it.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
First thing we notice that it's pretty slow. Good afternoon. My name is Lotte, chatbot of T-Mobile. I'd love to help you with questions about our mobile services. If we can't fix this together, then my colleague is ready for you. How can I help you? Well, that's a friendly start.
Yeah.
So now Coraline is...
I want to extend my subscription.
So, okay.
Wait.
You can take the keyboard closer. If that helps.
It does.
Sometimes the solution is really
simple, huh?
Yeah. So she's typing. This is really good. She used I want to extend my sub. So basically, if you would shorten it instead of subscription in Dutch, she used basically sub, and it recognized it. Yeah. And then it says you can extend it 4 months before the end of your contract. You want to know how fast you can do it yourself. And then it gives buttons, which is really good. Yes, no, different. And it tells you have to choose one of the suggestions. So she said yes. She said yes.
She said yes.
Within a few clicks, you can, without any problem, extend your subscription through in your T-Mobile, in my T-Mobile
environment.
Yeah.
But I don't want to log in.
So they're forcing you to log in. Well, and then it says, here's a button to do it. And it asks, did I help you? Well, then we'll say no. And then we'll say, I don't know my login details. I don't want to log in. See what happens. It says, PDR, I couldn't help you. Do you want to be in touch with one of my coworkers? Then we say no, because we want to see what happens if you type. Here's the annoying thing. It gives you a box to type your message, but you can't type a message, and then it disappears. So that's annoying. Yeah. Okay, we got an improvement point here for T-Mobile. You're suggesting that I can type something, and I really want to type something, and I can't.
I know that I'm working some pretty smart guys.
Then it asks, do you have another question? The answer is yes.
Yeah. So there we go again.
It says, you're at the good address with me. Ask me, good thing. Any question? Better than ABN AMRO. Ask me any question that you have about one of our services. There we go. Now we can type.
I don't know my login details.
Just say, ik wil niet inloggen. I don't want to log in. See what it says. But it says here.
Now I'm offended.
Yeah, it says it didn't understand properly what we were saying. It says, I don't want to log in. Yeah. And then it says, what is that?
Inconvenient.
How inconvenient that you can't log in anymore. And then it says, where are you trying to log in? No, we're not trying to log in. Okay. So we can answer my T-Mobile app, Videoland, what has that got to do with your T-Mobile subscription?
Don't know.
Next thing you know, they'll ask you to sell you Netflix. Yeah. Anyway, or maybe they have a deal with their subscription with Videoland.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, different. I would choose different. Then again, it suggests we can type, and basically nothing. Can we type here?
Yeah, we can type.
Okay. So
computer.
No, we're not trying to log in, so.
No, true. No, so this is not the right flow.
Well, it doesn't matter. It says, here's the interesting thing. The question disappeared. We answered to the previous question because it says, where are you trying to log in? We answered computer, which is perfectly right, but we're not trying to log in. But it was an answer to the question afterwards, which it doesn't show anymore. And then it says, sorry, I do not understand you. Ask your question in a few words so that I can help you correctly.
Yeah, so we're in the loop right now.
And we're like almost every week we find we get stuck in the chatbot. But this is normal. What we're doing is normal consumer behavior.
Yeah, yeah. And the point is, I would really love to scroll back to see the buttons. To adjust my choice. Yeah.
And that's that most chatbots don't do that or can't do that. And I think that's a technology thing because I know we've experimented with it. Apparently it's difficult to put that in because sort of you mix up everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I know what you mean. Yeah.
But at least ask me if you want the choice as representer, or keep that button always inside that you can get that part back and start back in the flow. But then again, it says that it doesn't understand us and we can use a few words. So not a sentence. This is also interesting. A few words. So we're going to put a few keywords that don't make any sense. See what happens. Or make sense.
Like zakelijk, privé.
In Dutch overzetten zakelijk naar privé. So basically changing from a business subscription to a private subscription. And I think the key is here, you want to keep your number.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. Okay, now we're... okay. So that's here good. It's interesting. So it understood the words.
Yeah.
It says now you can change a private subscription, very simple, to a business subscription and the other way around. That's what we asked for.
Yeah.
and then it says gives a button to actually perform the process.
Yeah.
And it asks if it helped as well. So now I'm curious what happens if you click it.
Exactly.
You have to log in.
Because this is for them obviously a very important question. So where are we going?
Well, and
they miss it.
And then they put you in. They open a new tab.
Yeah.
And you're gone. You're not in the chat anymore.
Yeah.
Now becomes the question: does the chat stay on this page or not? You can click that to translate. And the chat is gone.
Yeah.
So here they lost us.
Yeah.
So they're never going to get an answer if they helped you.
Yeah.
They only can do that via getting business data if you actually changed, but they don't know who you are.
No.
They never asked.
No.
If you're already a customer, they just force you to log in, and you didn't.
Yeah.
So if we would sort of summarize what we saw here, what went right, what went wrong, and did your frustration level go up or down?
Well, when I said I want to log in on a different thing, the different button, and I entered computer, I was very surprised they didn't recognize that one.
Yeah, because the previous question in between disappeared.
Yeah.
So somewhere, and it tried to connect the answer to the previous question and not the question before that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's really a waste of your data when you going out.
And I remember the 3-step we talked about.
Yeah.
These were not 3 steps.
No.
Quite a few more. Most people would have been on the phone already.
Yeah.
So they could have deferred that call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
And they don't know if I was happy or not.
And here comes the interesting question. I'm starting to ask that in every guest, because it turns out it's actually a philosophical question, and I'm not a philosopher. Sorry. What we saw here, we saw 2 different things. You tried to talk to the bot as a human.
Yes.
And it fucked up.
That's harsh.
A bit. No, it didn't help you.
No.
We got stuck.
Yeah.
And they're not unique. It happens a lot. Now we tried. Then it says, put it in a few words. And then you used a few words.
Yes.
Not a sentence. And then all of a sudden it understood you. And it gave you exactly the button you needed to get to the right process.
Yeah.
So what's happening here? And the question is, there we go. Should we, as humans, learn how to talk to a computer? That's the few words one. Or should the computer learn how to talk to humans?
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Where lies the truth? Is there a truth? Or are they both true?
There isn't a truth. But that's...
You just ruined my day.
Well, if you... There was a last news that the literacy in the Netherlands is going down, and I think it goes down everywhere in the world. So if you take that into consideration, then you might want to help your customer as a bot more in that department. By not only writing B1 sentences and stuff like that, but also,
having a button,
connecting
to the process.
But also just give me words and see what happens.
So basically, as a human, we're learning how to talk to computers.
Yeah,
it's interesting because this is the discussion I have with my kids.
Yeah.
And they always say to me, you type like you're talking to a human. And I type, they program, so they type code.
Yeah.
And somehow one bot responds better to one and to the other.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing. You said something about illiteracy.
Yeah.
But there's illiteracy, there's blind people, there's dyslexic people. I do not understand, and I cause it as well, but why we integrate in one bot, whether you want to write or you want voice.
Yeah.
Because if you have an impediment, a visual impediment, impairment,
Yeah.
There's never a chatbot that
Gives you that
basically
choice.
Yeah, and we're talking about making websites accessible for people with handicaps, like with buildings.
Yeah.
It's not there. We're not there yet
we aren't.
as a professional field.
No.
And I think we should do something about that. And I know voice is coming up. In November somewhere, Carla Verwijmeren, must know is coming.
Yeah, nice.
So we're going to talk about voice.
Yeah, she's great. She's great.
I can tell you afterwards. But because I think something needs to change, and we need to, and I'll talk to Hans van Dam about that as well, to integrate that into the education of conversation designers to do both.
Yeah.
One should not exclude the other. I understand you need to get to a certain point with writing, and then you need to add it.
Are there any platforms already
that do voice?
Yeah, no, voice and chat where you can make that choice. Do we have any use cases already in that field?
I wouldn't be able to tell you on the top of my mind. The top of my mind, I don't think it's standard. Ideally, you would have you have text.
Yeah.
Ideally, you would have the text you already have automatically transmitted to voice, and there's enough voice generators where you can go from text to voice without a problem. I think technically it should be possible. But then again, not everyone has a microphone connected to the computer. If they're on a website, then you still have the problem. You can talk, but it doesn't hear you.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that?
Yeah, but I guess the usage of it would be far more smartphones than laptops.
Yeah. So basically,
so you just talk here.
There's an interesting thought. So if we're talking visionary here.
Yeah.
Basically, what you're suggesting is the software should see and understand that you're connecting through a smartphone where there is a microphone, and that it'll ask you, because it doesn't know if you're blind or not or have an impaired vision, it should ask you, do you want to first in text, do you want a speech or text? And if you don't respond, it starts talking to you.
Yeah.
So it's okay. You didn't type a response.
So I assume you like voice.
Would you like voice? And if you do, just say yes.
Yeah.
And you go into the same. Actually, we're getting onto something here. No, but I'm serious. That would be an improvement.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you can also solve the language problem, because in Holland, of course, everything is done in Dutch. Mm-hmm. But we have so many expats here. Which is fine, but they all have a bank account. They all have to deal with the government. They all have to deal with everything. Mm-hmm. And a lot of
healthcare, stuff like that. Yeah.
And a lot of it is just in one language.
Yeah.
And they get stuck and they need help.
Yeah.
Again, that's costly and inefficient.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the technology allows us to translate.
Yeah.
Real time.
Yeah.
And I think Google already does that in Teams also. They have you can make connections where in a meeting it's automatically translated. Some languages.
Yeah.
So the technology is already there.
Yeah.
So where you have live transcriptions of what you're saying, we can already do that. We could have the text plotted on the website.
Yeah.
Why not in chatbot?
Yeah. That would be fun.
Yeah. That would also mean something for live agents.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, because they don't speak all the languages, but if they were typing, you could have an interpreter in between. A technological interpreter.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we've solved something. I don't know. I'll ask the next platform owner that comes by.
Please.
And we've got some on the roll. Ask him, okay, how do you envision this? And I'll put it forward as a question. And if they have the solution, I'll give it to you.
Great.
So all in all, what do you think of the chatbot of T-Mobile?
Well, I think they might answer pretty much of the questions, but
the way to get there is a bit too long.
Yeah.
And can I ask you a question about this? Should they have started with, you don't need to say, give me full sentences, just enter the keywords of what you want? Because that's when it started working.
Yeah.
And they told you to do that.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Yeah, that might happen.
So we have a tip for T-Mobile.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, but it's we do. Yeah.
You know someone there.
Yeah.
Wow, you couldn't call them that it's...
No.
You surprise them.
No. I hope she will listen.
we can tag her. Cool. I'm happy we did this, and I'm happy the eventually they came up with the right button.
Yeah.
And then what you get into, it's really easy and makes life easy to get through.
Yeah, but it's a shame they...
and it's a shame they take you out of the bot, and the bot doesn't say resident on the page.
Yeah.
Because go back to could you go back to the page where the chatbot, where we were chatting, I think.
This one?
No, the previous one where the bot was. See, the bot's gone altogether. That's really weird.
Yeah, it's completely gone.
So they never got a reaction to.
No,
we wanted to say that we were happy.
Yeah.
We couldn't.
Yeah, that's really a shame.
So another tip to T-Mobile: make sure the chatbot moves to the next page that you open for us.
Yeah.
And allow us to answer you.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, it will improve your KPIs.
Is there anything you would like to share with the listeners and or viewers as a takeaway? If you would, if you're a starting conversation designer or in a board of a big company, and you want them to take away two things, different things for both, take home and say, okay, if you're doing or working with chatbots or process bots. Or voice bots.
Make it easy for your users, first of all.
That sounds so simple.
Yeah, but it isn't. And that's the point.
And the most important thing in that easy, is that in the design or in technology?
Design and, I see in my team, for example, that the job of conversation designer is, I guess, everywhere. Something else. But there's a lot of emphasis. They emphasize a lot on technology, on data, on testing and stuff like that, which is obviously very important. But sometimes they forget another very important thing, and that is writing human conversations.
And that's difficult.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, Hans van Dam said something that stuck. He's the CEO and one of the founders of the Conversation Design Institute.
Mm-hmm.
They train all the people. He said, I was writing a book. I wasn't very good at it, but because the book hasn't been published. But in a book, you write conversations between people. It forces you to think about what happens.
Yeah.
And that sort of stuck with me. It's like, okay, so you don't have to have studied communication or whatever to be a great conversation designer or writer. You need to understand people.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And not a psychologist, just so a bit of life experience, I guess, helps.
Yeah. And be open. Talk.
Open to
your customers. Try to reach them. And that's why that's a little bit what we said already earlier about user research and stuff like that. Talk to your customers.
Continuously.
All
the time. Well, I guess we can close off with that thought, because basically that sums it up. We're doing it for the customer. And if they're not happy, they're not using it.
No.
Thank you, Caroline.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
And if anybody wants to contact you, how do they find you?
They find me at LinkedIn.
Yeah, but we spelled it. We say it in English. We spelled it the Dutch way, and I'm pretty sure, as we were laughing before about your Dutch name in English, maybe you spell it out.
Yeah. I'm not very thankful to my parents of my first name. It's Coraline, and which makes it easier is it's Caroline, but then the A and the O switched. Krak, Krak.
Okay, well, we'll tag you in the post.
Thanks.
So you're easier to find. If anybody wants to see listen to the podcast, They can find us on YouTube and on LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, on Spotify, under Podcasters. Thank you, Caroline, for being here, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm glad we laughed, but we didn't laugh as before, because otherwise there wouldn't have been a podcast. And I got the feeling we will meet again professionally somewhere, because we share a vision, and that's usually what works. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thanks.